originality is something that we lack in Toronto. And being a third generation Canadian, like the Colonial, places like that, growing up and trying to sneak in to watch artists, and that's where I got my love for music as well. And I like the fact that you also bring together the Caribbean flavor, but also youth that have, like Orrin Isaac. I remember him young in the 90s, you know.
Correct.
That signifies like unity, like, and we don't see that a lot in Canadian music, because it's usually the rap, the this, the that, the that, the that, and Caribbean jazz. Like, a lot of people don't know that. They know reggae, they know soca, they know steel pan, but Caribbean jazz lends to something innovative and new and conceptual, because like when I listen to Eddie Bullen, like, wow. This is like we need a station in Toronto, I think, that just like I'm glad that I bug Cool Breeze to come and be an artist on the radio, because he knows that side, and I'm a Canadian, so I know a different side, but blending together
the two sides, he's taught me so much in just a few months with different artists, and I've heard it, but I didn't know anything about it, and that's what we need here, because I'm sure there's 1,000 West Indians probably tuning into his show, or we go out there and we can talk about this stuff that never had a clue, because I didn't have a clue until today. And that's interesting, because that was involved in Calabash from the get-go, because one of the things we used to say when we played a gig in the original Calabash was what our island roots were, because Orrin was born here.
But he's Guyanese background.
He's Guyanese background. Wilson Lawrenson, he is actually Vincentian background, maybe St. Vincent or St. Lucia, but he grew up in England. I think he was born and grew up in London before coming to Toronto. Who was it? Dave Williams might have been Montserrat roots. So we always used to talk about our Caribbean roots. I was born in the Caribbean, but all the other guys, while they were born in Canada or London, England, and come to Canada, they had Caribbean roots. So we all, and I think that was one of the things that made Calabash successful artistically, because they were able to explore. They were all doing funk and rock and all this stuff up here, but Calabash allowed them to connect with their Caribbean roots in a way that they hadn't before, and in a creative way, because we're not just connecting to the Caribbean roots for soca or for reggae or for zouk. They were connecting with the Caribbean roots now and using it to go somewhere else artistically, you know, and it kind of allowed them to open up artistically. So I think the band has always been so. We laugh because our current saxophone player is Colleen Allen, who's Canadian. I think her family is from Alberta, but when we talk about her island roots, she's actually from Bow Island, Alberta. So
you know, go figure.
Still island roots there.
And just listening to the tracks I heard today from Cool Breeze, it lends a spirituality that we don't always embrace in a different kind of way. Like, sometimes I listen to smooth jazz, sometimes I try to get into the standards, but when you hear instruments, because I picked up the pan and I picked up the saxophone when he played a track earlier, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, because I like Joy Labs, you know, and I think she's a powerful artist that is so under-recognized. Just like Eddie Bullen, like I'm on Facebook and I'm always plugging his and 480 East and stuff like that, and they're saying they blend it all in together as smooth jazz artists, and I'm going, but I always put Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Canada, Toronto, and they're going, like, what is this Toronto, Canada? Like, even in the States, they don't know. And I've been to a few jazz festivals in Barbados, and they had some North American artists, but they had some Bajan artists, and I was like, wow,
Yeah,
I don't remember
sure.
the names.
Yeah.
It was
Calabash played what, the festival in Barbados.
and I was
We
just
played
like,
in
we need this
2002, I
here.
think.
We need this here. And it's a great thing Farley Flex is doing by opening up Fuse. I've been on the website a few times to see different things, because for many years I've kind of stepped back from the music industry because it was just boring. Like it was just so and I'm surprised that we have a black radio station that doesn't embrace someone like your knowledge to let people know that there is a standard for us. Like we have Caribbean jazz. Like I didn't know it. I just called it jazz with a Caribbean flavor when I met Cool Breeze, but to embrace it now as a unique entity as Caribbean jazz.
And then remember, it's not only and this is where we went with the shades of blue, because what I did at that Canadian Opera Center lunchtime concert is we started in Cuba and we came right down the Caribbean. So we showed the Cuban blend, how jazz has blended with Cuban rhythm.
And that's becoming really powerful.
That's right. Then we did a bit of Jamaica and blended with Jamaican rhythms. We did a bit of Haiti and the French Caribbean, because they have they blend with zouk, and they have
do.
their own forms.
They do. A friend of mine is from there.
And then you come down to the English side of the Caribbean, and you come down to Trinidad and Barbados and stuff, and we blend with calypso and some of the other rhythms. So there's a really wide range of rhythms all through the Caribbean that are used as the basis for creating jazz and other forms of music. It's not just the Cubans, and a lot of people don't realize that. We kind of stuck. We have the North American jazz tradition, and then you have the Cuban jazz tradition because of the way North America and Cuba were connected. But there's also all through the islands now. There are the different forms. You find the guys in St. Lucia playing their own rhythms. All of them, because St. Lucia is kind of half zouk and half calypso and half soca, right? They have their own mix of traditions and stuff, and you come right on, right? Even the French Antilles off the coast of like they have jazz musicians and jazz festivals down in Aruba and those musicians also, they have their own form, they have their own language, papimento, their own rhythms that they play. And they use those rhythms in jazz, because everybody, so I played with a saxophone player from Aruba, and they have their own traditions. So it's much wider than we think. Puerto Rico has their own, they have the bomba rhythm that they use in their jazz and so on. The plena and bomba and some of the rhythms that are unique to Puerto Rico. Are part of their own jazz tradition. So it's a very, very rich. I don't know if you've ever seen it. All of you guys should take a look at. There was a film that came to the Toronto Film Festival years ago called Calle, CALLE 54. It is an absolutely wonderful thing done by a Spanish filmmaker.
Okay. I never heard.
Yeah, and I think there may be a DVD still available. You can check on Amazon, or even it might be even still in HMV or something. Calle 54. And what he did was he went through and he did Latin jazz through the Caribbean. And he did a little bit of Brazil. I would love to see the equivalent done on the other forms of Caribbean jazz now, because he didn't touch the forms in the English and French Caribbean.
Right.
He touched the forms out of the Spanish
Latin,
Spanish and Brazilian,
Portuguese.
Yes, and Portuguese. But there's another whole set in the other language groups in the Caribbean that's fascinating. I would love to see that film done, the other side of that done.
I'd like to see the film, because it just
it's worth getting. Is fantastic. I was stunned by it. Michel Camillo plays on it. Eliani Elias, then the monster keyboard player from Cuba. What's his name?
Rubalcaba.
He didn't have Rubalcaba. He had the other guy. What's his name? Dan. Tall keyboard player. big guy. I just his name escapes me again. I'm getting old now. It will come back. I think it's a V. But anyway, so he had a range of jazz musicians. He had, as a matter of fact, he caught the timbale player. Geez, my mind is really dying on me. Tito Puente. He has one of the last films of Tito Puente before Tito died.
Wow.
So he has all those guys captured on.
I would like to have seen him live because he's just so creative, and you're a percussionist as well, and you're talking about different instruments, and I always like percussion because not only does it lend a tempo, but it's almost heart, like a spiritual heart kind of action that just kind of holds, like you hold it in your hand and just kind of brings the fire, the spirit, and the soul of the band. So, because I really felt it when I saw Seven Soul the other day, because it was just like the drumming and I really started to listen to it. And where I got my start was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Because with Maurice White and
they always played percussion.
Always, and I'm liking the fact that you guys are coming out with a new album and it's reflecting a place and influenced by color, because we are so colorful, not only in our music but as people, and it would be nice to see a collective just build up here with like Eddie, Seven Souls, yourself, and just have a Caribbean jazz festival, because we're losing our Caribbean roots. I mean, back in the 60s when it first started as a kid, I remember that the Merry Men and the Troubadours were our Latin Caribbean thing, and
then who was the equivalent here? The guy from the Trade Winds.
The Trade Winds also, and I was like, my parents were like so proud of that collective, and it was widely received, and our dynamic here in Canada has changed so much because we're so diverse now that sometimes I feel that we've lost ourselves, you know. So we thank you so much for coming down today and just letting us know who Calabash is and giving us something to look forward to, and some Caribbean jazz like that instead of smooth jazz or standards or fusion. Like you guys are building entity with Caribbean jazz, and I really like that. So
my pleasure.
Thank you for meeting you today, and I learned something new all around. And to Cool Breeze for having me down here. I was holding it down for a couple hours, so I got an education in the process. So thank you guys.
Great.